How's it going? This is Derek. So I was having a conversation this morning with buddy Matt. What's going on? If you're watching, about something that a lot of guitarists like to nerd out about, and that is tone. Particularly, digital versus amps versus. He was talking about like just running drives direct, and that makes sense. I mean, if you've seen Jim Lil's video where he explores amps, he ends up replicating several amps using two gain pedals and two EQ pedals. So I can see that. Although if you watch this channel much, you probably are aware of the fact that I don't talk about tone much. I run digitally, but that's mostly for convenience and because I think it's good enough. For me, I don't feel strongly about digital one way or another. In fact, what I probably feel most strongly about is just how nuanced it is. And so I don't talk about it a lot. What I do talk about is trying to play musically, trying to get your head in the right space and exploring what it is about the way that certain people play that makes something sound more musical, more nice. I don't know, mo better. Trying to put what feel and soul are into words and besides phrasing, which is part of it. Anyway, I'm rambling. So ultimately the point that I'm getting at is the tone is in your hands, right? Everyone says that, but what does that actually mean? So a while back I did this video where I bought pro presets, and these are really great presets for the Helix ecosystem, and they're really great presets, right? But in this video I explore the idea where even though he made them sound incredible, I didn't really. They sounded fine when I played them, and I'm sure that I could get used to them. But even these incredible presets that give him incredible tone didn't really do it as much for me. Feel free to go check out that video. It still brings in views sometimes. And the point was that I have my own sound, he has his sound. We all have our own sound. And so where I think that ties into what I'm talking about is that rather than chasing really great tone or perfect tone, I think it's worth instead chasing two things. First off is your tone, tone that works for you. Figure something out that works well with the way that you play, because ultimately here's what happens. You play a certain way and you're gonna try and shape your tone for that, right? That won't necessarily mesh with everyone else, especially because I do think that most people as an audience don't care about tone past a certain point. I mean, if you look at especially a lot of older recordings and older songs, I don't know, you can argue with me about this, but I think about Dream On by Aerosmith. If you listen to the guitar in that and you're a guitarist who chases tone, it's not really great. It's to me it just sounds really harsh and buzzy and kind of off and just not great. And that's kind of more of a preference thing, but it's Aerosmith, and it's their biggest song. And so that just goes to show that it doesn't really matter. As long as it works, as long as you're playing something good. That kind of brings us back to the more musical point. But here's the thing, it's not as simple as that. Because as a guitarist myself, I need my tone to sound good to me. The problem with just saying, just pick something and play and don't worry about it is that if it doesn't sound good to me, I'm not playing well. I'm not I can't get past that. And I think that's probably applies to more than me. I think having really great tone is most important kind of internally. And so you need to what it is that you hear. You need to what you hear that you're playing. Sorry, that was worded kind of weirdly, but I think you get the point. Pursue tone that you like, but don't worry too much about what other people deem as good tone or bad tone, because ultimately what matters more is what you're playing. And really, I mean, you could say what matters more is going back to the tone is in your hands thing. What matters more is that your dynamics are good, that you're not buzzing, that you're not holding strings too hard so that they go sharp or bending, your phrasing. I know I said that, but that matters more than tone. the other thing. The other thing that matters more than your tone, or more than having good tone, is having the right tone. Because like there's a whole spectrum of music and genres out there that have all kinds of different tones, and like what sounds good in one wouldn't necessarily sound good in another. I mean, take like you just super contrast like metal against classical. Well, I guess you've got Yngwie Malmsteen. I don't know, but like in metal, you are generally going for like a really distorted tone, like a lot of gain, and that's just very contrary to like if you pull out a classical guitar, you're looking for something really clean, really warm, really resonant. You take jazz, you're looking for a lot of the same qualities in like electric guitar though, which I've always found a little bit odd because then you have things like trumpets and saxophones in jazz that have just a lot of like presence naturally, and I'm like, why can't guitar have that? I think it could sound cool. In fact, I think it does sound cool when it's done right. But compared against like, you know, your classic rock, tube screamery type of stuff, compared against like your mega clean, like, I don't know, indie tones and stuff, like there's all kinds of different stuff out there. And really what's most important is that you match the genre, because a lot of these things don't cross over perfectly. I mean, even like just a clean, direct signal, like straight into an interface would work well for something like funk, right? Like if you think about like, you can improve that by maybe adding a compressor and getting that squashed kind of tone, but like even something like that could work. And so it's not about getting the best tone in that case, it's about getting it right for the genre, for the song, for whatever you're going for. And on top of that, making it sound right. Because like I said, if you contrast metal against classical, you've got Yngwie Malmsteen. And like, I'm not really into that, but like he does his thing and he does it well. And a lot of people are into that and he owns it. And that's really cool. I guess the point that I'm getting at is that like chasing the best tone or the perfect tone is, well, it's kind of a nerdy thing to do. And look, I'm a nerd too. I'm right out there with you. Like, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. Like, if you want to nerd out on tone, by all means, have at it. But if you want to be a really good guitarist and you want to sound as good as you possibly can, and tone is just kind of the thing that you know how to chase because you can buy a pedal or buy an amp or buy a guitar or buy some other piece of gear, money's only going to take you so far. Like, you can go buy a Dumble amp and it's going to sound good. It's going to cost as much as a house. Like, and you can be a perfectly competent guitarist without doing that. But if you're looking to be like the best guitarist that you can be, tone's only going to take you so far. And on top of that, technique's only going to take you so far. And that's a whole nother video. You've got to get really good at your techniques, but ultimately it's about figuring out like, how do I play in a way that sounds good and is musical and in a way that people want to listen to, in a way that I want to listen to, because you've got to like your own music. Anyway, that's about it. If you made it this far, hit that like button. I would love it if you subscribed. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that I'm underselling tone and that it's more than just like a nerdy pursuit? Again, past a certain point, because you can use the wrong tone, right? Or you can just like make something sound bad. But yeah, am I underselling it, or like is there really probably more to like getting it in a way that's workable, getting it right for you, getting the genre right, and then really focusing more on the music than the tone itself? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to chat about it. Hope you enjoyed the jam. I'll see you in the next one.